Hey guys, Orlando Santiago here. Welcome back to our skincare category. Today we're going to talk about daily skincare prep for combination skin. This is really important because, we have to really understand the dynamics behind what primers, what moisturizers, and so on and so forth if you have combination skin. So one of the things that we need to talk about is how to do that. What products do we use? Where are we going to put them and why? Meaning, if you just put one particular blanket moisturizer over the entire face, meanwhile the person has a combination skin, then you're doing a disservice because perhaps you're putting more oil on top of oily skin or oily areas, which is actually going to break apart and kind of roll off later. The makeup will roll off. Now, if you are, say, perhaps dry, and you are not putting the appropriate moisturizer, it's not going to be enough hydration, and therefore you're going to have cracking and peeling. All the visible details of the skin being really dry are going to show. So let's get into it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're taking Adriana, my model. By the way, the brows that Adriana has on right now, if you can see here, I went ahead and did, if you missed a segment or haven't gone back to one of the previous segments, I did her brows where I neutralized through color theory, and then I went back and sketched them in to show a softer, much more natural brow. So go back and check out that video as well. But now I'm actually going to work on her skin type. So she has combination skin. Throughout the face, I feel like there is different areas of texture. So I can feel like there's a little bit of, right in the T-zone, you'll see that it's a little bit shinier, a little bit slippier, right? The texture is a little different. And then as you move over to the cheeks, it's a little drier, but then you come back to the chin area, and it's a little bit more oily, right? So these are things that you have to tackle separately. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start off with a moisturizer that is for dry skin. Again, one of my favorites is Embryolisse, and there's different types, right? So I love the Le Creme. It's a good, inexpensive moisturizer that kind of does the trick. So this actually is, and you just want to put a little bit on your hand, or however. I like to massage things in. I don't use brushes for my moisturizer simply because I think the warmth of your hands, massaging it into the skin actually just kind of presses it in better, and it kind of lasts longer. So, I mean, maybe if you want to put it on with a brush, that's okay, but massage it in always with your hands. So like in this area, right, I'm going to massage it in and kind of really just press it in. Not too close to here, right? Not too close to the pores that are larger in that area, right, of the cheeks or the nasal folds, right? I'm just really going on to her cheekbone, the sides of her cheeks, right? Perhaps a little under the eye. And I'm just being real careful not to really go down the T-zone too much because that is where she is oily. Okay, and being that this has what an emulsion is basically the combination of oil and water. So this particular moisturizer is going to satisfy the needs of dry skin. It's like giving your skin a glass of water. So what we're going to do is really just, again, play on that and kind of massage it in and really just bring it forward. Press it into the skin. The warmth from your hands will really allow her skin to absorb it and take it in. Okay, and that's really it. She really doesn't need it anywhere else. It was just right around here that I felt she had some dry areas and dry patches. So now I'm going to switch over to a different moisturizer. And okay, so now I'm going to use the Hydromat. And the Hydromat is fantastic for skin that is oily. So in this area, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the T-zone. These are the areas that will, and usually any kind of moisturizer that you're using for oily areas is usually oil-free, right? Makes sense because you don't want to deposit more oil than what's already there naturally. So what I'm doing is just really hitting the T-zone, the hot spots, the forehead, all these areas, just kind of massaging it in. And just because they're oily doesn't mean that they're not worthy of a moisturizer. That's actually inaccurate. Even though they're oily, they just need a different type of moisturizer. Again, oil-free. So okay, coming down the center of the bridge of the nose, okay, sides, especially right in here. And what this does is a good moisturizer will actually help to tighten the pores and kind of slow down the production of oil. But also primers do that as well. So we are going to use that. Again, when you're doing makeup, you want to realize that you're doing makeup and you're prepping the canvas for an all-day situation, right? So you're not going to be able to touch up your skincare throughout the day. You might be able to touch up your makeup, but what you do in the beginning of the day will actually help set the makeup, and kind of that's what's really going to determine how long it's going to last. So if you invest a little bit more time into the skincare prep, then obviously your makeup will last a lot longer throughout the day. Good. So as you can see, she's fully prepped. Different types of moisturizers in different areas of the face, which again, I think is really important that you understand that, right, for combination. Now let's say she was all dry, then obviously I can use that one great moisturizer to kind of satisfy her entire face. Sometimes you may need even something like a balm, you know, something a little heavier, right? These are balms that, ointments that are extra oils, extra infused because of the time of year. For example, we're just now transitioning into spring from winter. Skin is very dry during the winter time, so you sometimes need a little bit of help with an extra boost of something. So your moisturizer might not cut it, so you might have to add something else into it. Now I'm going to use a primer, okay? So what I'm going to use is a primer that I love. It's a primer by Guerlain, and it's called the Meteorites Primer. And this primer is actually a primer designed to tighten the pores, but also give a luster, right, radiance to the skin. And that's what helps you kind of do and look so radiant throughout the day. So I'm going to take the primer, and I'm just going to 2 pumps of the primer so that you can see that there. And it's pretty much like a serum. So what you're going to do is you can take it. For serums, it's a little trickier, right? You want to use a brush and just place it where you need most of the results. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going back, and it's going to mattify her, but yet give her a luster, right? Just because you're matte doesn't mean your skin doesn't have to look bright. It just doesn't look oily, but it looks bright. So this will help to tighten up her pores and give her luster at the same time so that her skin is brighter throughout the day. And just really press it in, and automatically you can start to see that her skin is looking even more radiant, but not oily. And I think that's really key when you're prepping the skin. And especially when you have a primer that gives luminosity, or it has, you know, any kind of stardust technology, anything that helps to kind of reflect light to give it luminosity is usually a great primer. Now, there's a difference between shiny and oily. There's different primers. If you need hydration, then you're going to get one that gives you that slip. For example, this is something that's a little bit oil-based, right? So it's going to give you that dewy finish, that J.Lo glow, that supple, right, texture. But this, what I've just done now, will not. It'll just give you a radiance, but you'll still be nice and matte. And now I'm just going to go back with my finger and just check it and see what. Yeah, so she's actually becoming a little bit more, it's drying up, but it's maintaining that luster that we were talking about. Okay, and this is really important. Now she's fully prepped. Okay, now I'm not going to go ahead and apply any kind of concealer or foundation because that's another segment. However, this right here would be the perfect way to prep the skin in order to have her wear her makeup throughout the day without the makeup falling apart, because I was very situationally driven when it comes to my moisturizers that I've chosen and my primers that I've also chosen for her as well. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Adriana, for being my model. And stay tuned for more categories. Click on more informational videos. And only here can you find this on my app. Take care. See you later.